What in Baby Yoda's precious name is going on with Aurora Cannabis? Stick around. Welcome to Framework Fortune. I'm your host Ben, and it's time for another one of Ben's stock reviews where you leave a stock in the comments below and I'll do a review about them. So today, this stock actually is not coming from one of my subscribers. Instead, it's a stock that's been in the headlines, and I decided I should just go ahead and dig into it, find out what's going on about it. And that is Aurora Cannabis, ticker symbol ACB. I'm sure most of you are familiar with it. It's been a stock that's really been under scrutiny the past couple of months. It's been on a downtrend. It's just been getting beat by social media. Just about every day I see another post in the Facebook group saying Aurora Cannabis is garbage, the company is imploding, it's just a bad buy, there's no reason to hold on to it, just sell, get out of it. A lot of panic selling. It's been very ugly, so I want to take the time to do some real deep digging and see if it is really over for Aurora, because I'm not so sure it is. But let's go ahead and dive into it, and let's look and find out what's going on. So you can see we have an enterprise value of $2.36 billion and a market cap of $2.11 billion. So that's pretty big. Profit margin negative 130%. That's not a good number. The 52-week change, we know that this has been on a downward spiral, so nothing surprising there. Basically $1 billion in float, so pretty big float. It's not going to move real fast without any volume. We do have 6% held by insiders and 12, almost 13% held by institutions. Looks like there's some shares to short out there and some shorters holding on to some short positions. I have really anything for revenue. Quarterly revenue growth though, 133%. Gross profit margin, $159 million, so those are pretty good numbers there. And then quarterly earnings growth, negative 87%, so not too good there. The numbers on this are not great, and it's not really telling us much. This is a big cannabis company. You know, this is one of the top 3 Canadian pot stock companies, so we're going to have to do a little bit more digging than just this. So let's check into some of the press releases. Alright, so 26 minutes ago, Aurora Cannabis might have trust issues. Stock is sliding. We have a class action lawsuit against them. Okay, so this lawsuit is for investors who purchased between September 11th, 2019 and November 14th, 2019. According to the filed complaint during the class period, Aurora made materially false or misleading statements and or failed to disclose that 1. As opposed to the company's representations, Aurora's revenue would decline in its first quarter of fiscal 2020 ended September 30th, 2019. And second, the company would halt construction on its Aurora Nordic 2 and Aurora Sun facilities. Number 3, as a result, defendant statements about its business operations and prospects were materially false and misleading or lacked a reasonable basis at all irrelevant times. So we have a little bit of lying, basically. I guess Aurora is lying to their investors, which is not good. It's definitely a bad sign. You never want a lawsuit when you're a big company or a small company. Nobody wants to be a part of a lawsuit, so pretty bad sign there. Alright, so let's see what else we got. So here's the press release about the CCO resigning. So I have seen several posts and things like that saying that people are jumping ship from Aurora. The CCO has jumped ship, but after reading this, has he really jumped ship? Yeah, he's not with Aurora anymore, but he's moved to a company that Aurora holds 10% stake and 50% voting rights on. So if you call that jumping ship, I mean, he's jumping ship into another ship of Aurora, basically. I mean, it's like a fleet. He's not jumping ship straight into the ocean and running for his life. Now, he probably had a heads up that maybe this investigation was coming, but if it was really that bad of an investigation, like they were really hiding stuff, I don't think I would go to the ship next door. I think I would get as far away from the company as possible, and he didn't get that far away. I mean, he's still kind of in the Aurora family when you look at it, so not really a major deal in my eyes there. We have another press release today. Aurora, like I said, the stock has been getting a lot of attention. It's been getting a lot of negative attention, but regardless, it's still getting a lot of attention. So I'm pretty sure it's on every investor's radar as either a buy, sell, or hold. But let's find out if the majority opinion from what I've seen of this company is going under is going to hold up. Let's see if I agree, but we'll get there soon enough. So initial Cannabis 2.0 shipments released to 10 province regulators. They've also been made available for order countrywide. So we got an update on capital expenditure plan for long-term market growth, and network of strategic partners continue to demonstrate value and strong execution. Aurora continues to evaluate multiple sources of capital and currently has access to undrawn capacity under CDN $360 million credit facility with a syndicate of banks in addition to its US $400 million ATM equity distribution program. This press release comes out today, same time as they're getting a class action lawsuit. The CCO is stepping down. Of course, he's not really going that far away from the company, but that's all pretty positive stuff. So what this shows me is Aurora is not really ready to lay down and die. This is a positive press release. It says they're moving forward with their plans. They've released the Cannabis 2.0 products. They're working to try to get their finances back in order. It doesn't look like they're ready to go down yet. I mean, there's a lot of negativity surrounding them, but this looks pretty positive. Looks like they're looking into the future to still be around. So let's keep digging. Consumers will most likely not see the products of Cannabis 2.0 until early January 2020, but it looks like they have a variety of CBD and THC vape and edible products, gummies, chocolates, baked goods, and mints. So international market developments. Let's see what's going on here. Aurora has received the very first approval from Danish Medicines Agency for the import of company's Sediment soft gel capsules into Denmark. Aurora is currently working to obtain an export permit from Health Canada and expects to complete the first shipment from its Aurora Ridge facility in Ontario the first calendar quarter of 2020. Ireland announced that one of the company's oil products has now been approved for use under Ireland's new medical cannabis access program. Their oil drops received approval from Irish authorities and now been added to a regulatory schedule by the Irish Minister of Health, enabling importation, prescribing, and supply under the schedule, and is to date one of the only two products to gain such authorization. So we still have Aurora making some moves globally. In the midst of everything going on, we do have some global moves happening, and that's pretty good. And they can't lie about this. You can't lie about approvals with Danish agencies and Irish agencies or whatever. You can't really lie about that stuff, because I know with them having a class action lawsuit, and it's possible that they may be lying to investors. There's some things you just can't lie about. And if they're lying about this, then that would be pretty insane, because they're lying on another country's medical agencies, which I just don't see that happening. So they're making progress globally still. So we have an update on their flagship retail store. It opened in November 27th, North America's largest shopping mall. The store is approximately 11,000 square foot, so that's pretty crazy. 94% of visitors to the cannabis and accessory stores make a purchase. So the Aurora Nordic 1 has received processing and drying license. It has also completed the filings to obtain certification to receive approval first calendar quarter of 2020, which will allow for the sale to patients across Europe. Aurora won top prizes at Canadian Cannabis Awards. So there's a lot going on. Aurora is doing quite a bit, it seems. So let's go jump into their website and check that out as well. So here's Aurora's website. We're going to take a look at it, do a little digging here, see if we can find any more information. The website's pretty nice. It's not anything spectacular, but it's a nice looking website, very easy to read. So let's see what we can find. So this is their quarterly revenue report. Let's take a look at some numbers. It says their consumer net revenue is up 52%, Canadian medical net revenue up 10%, gross margin on cannabis net revenue up 3%, cash cost of sales down 28%. International medical net revenue up 12%, active registered patients up 10%, selling, general, and administration up 9%, cash cost to produce per gram sold 20% down. 349% revenue growth, 629% increase in kilograms sold, 12 strategic acquisitions and partnerships closed, 10 international markets entered, 96% increase in active registered patients. So they have a lot of facilities set up across the world. And I know they're continually trying to grow that, but because of the recent issues that they've been having, they've had to kind of pull back on facility production and making more facilities. So that's understandable, but the way they're setting up, it's kind of positioned them to be one of the global leaders in the cannabis sector. And that's if they survive all of this media bashing that they're taking in this class action lawsuit. See, new supply agreements, United Kingdom, Germany, established consumer brands, Aurora, San Rafael, 71, Whistler Cannabis Co., Altavi, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but either Altavi or Altavia, I don't know. Correct me in the comments. The Woodstock Cannabis Company. So Aurora has also partnered with the UFC for research. Very interesting, Aurora. Very interesting. So they've got some hemp projects going on as well. Okay, so their 2019 annual report is pretty good. There's a lot of positivity. There's a lot of growth. There's a whole lot of stuff going on with them that is good. Does it outweigh the class action lawsuits and the other things going on with Aurora right now? That's the question. If it comes out that they didn't lie to investors and they win the lawsuit, then this stock is going to go up. And most likely anyway. Normally when stocks come out of one of these lawsuits and they come out unscathed, they usually have a nice little jump up because investors are like, hey, they didn't lie to me. I can trust them, so I trust them to put my money in them. Simple as that. So until this lawsuit is over, I definitely say stay away from it if you're thinking about buying it. These are very low lows, and I expect over this holiday season for it to drop some more, especially with this lawsuit just coming out today. And the CCO, I'm not really expecting to hurt the stock that much. Like I said, he's not really jumping ship. He's just moving ships in the same fleet. So not that big a deal. The lawsuit's definitely a big deal. It's something you're going to want to keep up with. If you're thinking about investing in Aurora, or maybe you already are invested. But until the stock is over these moving averages, it's going to be very bearish. It's continued to be very bearish, but it could rebound. As you can see on these volume bars, back here when it went on this initial run, it had a lot of volume. Right here lately, it's been getting some volume. Not the best volume. It's been crashing quite a bit. So it's a lot of selling volume. I'm sure some shorters have a hold of this. So here's the 3-year chart. Try to take a look here the past 3 years of what's going on with this stock. And you can see it's went up and had some dips and went back up and had some dips. But this is the lowest it's been in 3 years. So not a great thing there. But a lot of it was the social media. When the pot sector was really catching fire, there was a lot of social media posts boosting Aurora, as well as the other big two, Canopy Growth and Afra. And all that attention caused a lot of these big pops. And then every time something happens with pot stocks, these three are at the forefront and they are affected by legislation and things like that. So that's where you see those big pops at, is when there was a lot of positivity on this stock. Because the stock hasn't rebounded like it previously has, there's some negative energy going into it, and then you have these other negative press releases with this lawsuit and people stepping down and things like that, and you can see this continuation crash happening. But if you look back here at these levels here, you do have some support at 150. My guess is this stock is going to drop down to 150 and ride that area until the lawsuit is over with. And if it turns out that they actually weren't lying to their investors, $1.50 could be a very good buying opportunity on this stock. It could drop to $1. I could see that happening, but $1 is going to be very, very strong support. It has not been below $1 in a very long time, and if going below $1 is a whole psychological change in the way people look at this stock. So most likely that's not going to happen, but it could. You can never say never in the stock market. Things can happen any other different way that you can imagine or what you predict, so always keep that in mind. Also, do your own due diligence before you buy or sell any stocks. Do not listen to other people's recommendations. You want to buy stocks that you are comfortable with and that you've done your research on. Here's my overall thoughts on Aurora and what I think about it. First, until the lawsuit is over, I'm not sure what's going to happen with this. That's a big toss-up. I don't think the company is going to go out of business anytime soon. They have too many things going on for them just to call it quits and give up. And the way they're talking in their press releases and their corporate updates, they're not giving up. So until the lawsuit's over, I say it's probably best just to wait this out and see what happens with that. After that, there's a lot that could happen. Now, I don't think this company will go bankrupt and close. The biggest reason why is they have so many facilities, so many products, so many partnerships, so many different things going on with them. And that could be the reason why they've had kind of the bad rep that they've been getting, that they've not been able to make the money they should be making. They might have spread their money in too many different places. They might have put their eggs in way more than one basket, and it's a little overwhelming, so now they're trying to step back a little bit. They might have aimed for the moon. They look like they want to be a global competitor in the cannabis market, but it also looks like they may have jumped the gun on it, because supply and demand is the biggest thing with businesses, and if you have too much supply and not enough demand yet, then you have to scale things back and wait for that demand to pick back up before you keep growing. So I think that's pretty much their biggest issue, is they got too far ahead of themselves. They thought that with Canada going recreational legal and thinking the U.S. might be going recreational legal soon, and some other countries, they might have thought, let's get as big as possible so we can corner the market. But with all these snags, I could see where they have to take a step back and slow down their moves. You know, they got to slow their roll, and I think they realize that. They've been getting a little crazy, a little overboard. So that being said, with all that happening, before they go bankrupt, somebody will buy Aurora Cannabis. Before they call it quits, go bankrupt, and give up, another company could easily buy Aurora. There's too many facilities already set up, too many products already set up. This company is too big to just go to the wayside and crumble. That's not going to happen. So I think that either, like I said, another company could buy Aurora and turn things around. Another company could merge with Aurora. If you see the US go legal soon, then Walmart or Amazon or one of those big Fortune 500 companies that are in retail, they might want to buy one of these companies, or all of the companies. They might want to buy Aurora Canopy Growth and maybe Afra. They might want to do that. So I can see them buying it. I can also see Aurora and maybe Canopy Growth or Afra merging into one bigger company. I think that's another option. So I definitely think there's a future for Aurora. I don't think it's the end of the stock. I just don't see it. Maybe the end of the company name if they're bought out or they merge with another company. But as far as the stock just completely going to zero and the company just dying, I don't think that's going to happen. They've established themselves pretty well, and they have a lot of assets that probably look pretty good to some other companies. So I think those two options are very viable. The third option, I think, maybe they didn't lie to investors. It comes out that they didn't. They get all their finances together and they start actually turning a nice profit and turn this company around. It's not too late to do that. You know, they're making money. They're just spending it as fast as they make it. So they're businessmen. I'm sure they know how to budget. I'm sure they can pull things back to where they can start making a profit, paying off debts, and make this company a strong company. I think that's a possibility as well. Not every company starts out making profit in a new sector, killing it, just rocking it. There's going to be snags. There's going to be issues. There's going to be hiccups. That's going to happen, especially with a new sector as sketchy as marijuana. And when I say sketchy, I don't mean like I'm against marijuana. I mean sketchy as in like there's a lot of new rules and laws and regulations that are going to have to be put into place, that are getting put into place. So that's going to always make things a little weird. You're not going to be able to just dive in, start growing marijuana and selling it. There's more to it than that. And until all that gets worked out, you're going to continue to have some issues in this sector. But when all that does get worked out, the companies that are still there when the dust settles are going to be pretty big companies. I could be wrong, but they're not really showing any other signs that they plan on giving up. So I think they're around for a little while. I think we've not seen the last of Aurora. And I think it's going to take a lot more than one CCO stepping down and one lawsuit to break Aurora from what they're trying to do. So that's it for this episode of Ben's Stock Reviews. If you haven't yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. I'm your host Ben. You've been watching Framework Fortune.